Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square here with T-Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. It is hump day, middle of the week. Super excited. Got a great video planned out, kind of. I say kind of because I'm actually going to be jumping around. There's like 4 or 5 different things that I kind of want to talk a little bit about today. I was kind of reading through the comments, and I seen a couple things that I thought were interesting points to kind of talk about. A few things happened to me today that I thought were interesting to talk about, and right down to even going out to eat. I went out to eat and had Chinese food, and while I was there, I was watching a couple of YouTube videos talking about gold and silver. And as a habit, I like to talk to people about gold and silver. And being at a Chinese restaurant, I wanted to hear a couple of the people that work there's thoughts on gold and silver. And I was really surprised what I heard. Well, one about gold and about silver. We're going to get into that a little bit here because a lot of people are always saying how the Chinese are big on gold. You hear a lot of different things on YouTube, and even when you watch some of these Asian YouTube channels where they talk about gold and silver and stuff. And so I kind of wanted to talk to some of the girls that work there and just kind of hear what they think about it. I've thought about recording, but I don't have the capability of recording without someone knowing I'm recording, and people get really nervous if they know they're being recorded, so you don't always get the straight answers. I don't know if they think when they go back home someone might, I don't know, frown on some of the stuff they said. Who knows? But we're going to talk a little bit about that in today's video. Talking a little bit about gold and silver and what's going on. Kind of run over the numbers real quick and kind of talk about the gains that we have seen in both gold, silver, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, the S&P over the last year, just to give people a little perspective, because the truth of the matter is, I'm hearing, I had gotten a comment too a little while ago that said, you know, the gains that you see in gold and silver are pretty much going to be washed away in anything you buy, because everything you buy now is going to cost you more. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I like gold and silver to a certain point, because I know that I'm buying items tomorrow at today's prices. What do I mean by that? If you put away a silver quarter would have bought you a gallon of gas a year ago, and it will still buy you a gallon of gas, and actually it will buy you more right now. Why? Because we are seeing some interesting stuff happen. We're seeing gold and silver really rally now, and I think it's going to rally a whole lot higher in the long run. And so I think that's something interesting that we should kind of talk a little bit about today. If you enjoyed today's video, please help me out by hitting that thumbs up button. And if you see where the thumbs up button is and you scroll over, you'll see the thumbs down button. Hopefully you don't hit that. And then you'll see some other stuff, but you might see the word hype. If you see a button there that says hype video when you're scrolling across, that bar will just slide, that thumbs up bar. If you see the hype button, hit that hype button for me. It really helps me out more than you know. And the thumbs up button helps too, but only a few people, or I shouldn't say a few, only a small percentage of people actually have that hype button. It's something they're rolling out and testing. It's going to be up and running soon. It already is up and running in some countries, and they're expecting that it will take off next year in America. So hopefully if you have it on there, hopefully you hit it for me. It really helps me out. It's something you'll only see on smaller creators, and I'm considered a small channel because I only have 15,000 subs. So with that being said, let's jump in. Let me know your thoughts, and let's jump in, take a quick look at what's going on with silver. So silver right now at 44.07. If you guys watched yesterday's video, not much of a move since yesterday. We were at 44.07. We've seen it climb, then we've seen it dip, and now we're right back at right around 44.07. And I think that's a good thing. It's stable. We're not seeing a huge pullback yet. I know there's a lot of mixed signals out there, maybe from me, maybe from other people. I've mentioned pullback, but yet I also have mentioned I want to see it go higher. I actually read a comment a few minutes ago, said, you know, it's kind of one of them conundrums. You want to see it go higher because everything you've got will go up drastically. The amount of wealth that you will feel when you look at your stack and you do out the math at what the price is, it's nice to feel it, that it's worth a whole lot more. But then on the flip side of that, it's nice to see it come down too. Knowing that you can go real quick, put in an order, and get a bunch of silver for a smaller amount of money. Is it going to be enough to make a difference? It all depends. Like I've said in previous videos, a 10% pullback in the price of silver, if you're buying 100 ounces, is like getting 10 ounces of silver for free. It makes a big difference, but it's getting expensive. We're feeling it. And I even know some people that have slowed down on buying because the price is just too high. Even myself, I've slowed down a little bit on buying, but I expect I'll probably be back buying next month. So it's going to be a very slow down. If we don't see any kind of a pullback come the first week of next month, I'm going to be buying back in most likely. And by buying back in, I don't mean I've gotten rid of anything. It just means I've slowed down on purchasing. Taking a quick look at the gold price, we got the gold price right now at $37.67. When I read people's comments, I'm seeing more and more people say that right now they're focusing on just small fractional gold, kind of like 1/10 ounce gold pieces, your $5 gold eagles, your smaller 1/10 ounce coins. And a lot of that has to do with right now the premiums on gold are not super high, whereas there is silver that has a higher premium. It has a higher price tag right now. And as we see the gold-silver ratio start to come down, more people will be eyeballing gold. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Does that make one investment better than the other? I mean, when you look at what gold and silver has done this year, let's just take a look. We'll do a full year so we can compare it. Over the last year, is this going to tell me? Oh, no, this ain't going to tell me the exact percentage. I thought it did. Oh, you know what? We'll come here. This will have it. If anybody's wondering the gold and silver price in Canadian loon, we've got Canadian loon 61 loon for 1 ounce of silver, 5,220 loon for 1 ounce of gold. But when you take a look at the last year on the gold price is up 1,588 loon. It's up 44%. Now, silver is another crazy interesting one. It's showing that it's up $18 for silver, or 42%. But if you're in the United States, it's more like 50%. I think it was at 49% when I looked it up today in US dollars. Why? The U.S. has been a little late to this party. However, we're seeing the gains catch up now, and that's why we're seeing the big gains in the United States. We still haven't even seen an all-time high for the price of silver here in the United States. However, other countries around the world have already started seeing the highs. Now, what I really want you to take from this, though, if you've got gold up 40% in the United States, silver up 49% in the United States, even in Canada, you're up 44% on gold, 42% on silver. But what I want you to take a look at is the Dow Jones for a quick minute. And I haven't pulled up the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 in a little while. However, what's interesting to take from it is the 1 year, over the last year, if you had your money in the Dow Jones, you're only up just under 10%, 9.68%. We'll say 10%. That's a fraction of what precious metals have gone up. Taking a quick look at the NASDAQ over the last year, NASDAQ has done better. It's up 24.89% or 25%, which is good. However, still not as good as gold and silver. And if you look at the S&P is up 16%. Still not as good as gold and silver. When you take a look at all the assets that are out there based by market cap, we talk about this a lot lately. It's something that I've brought back recently, especially because silver just jumped into the 6th spot. So what this is the item or the company or the commodity and the market cap. How much money is in it based off what the price is. And you've got gold at number 1, and I don't ever really see gold ever losing its number 1 spot. Then you have Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Google, and then silver. Silver sitting at $2.5 trillion. Very small when you think about how much silver is out there. This is based off of $44.44 silver price. And silver price has a long ways to run, I believe. I think we're going to go a whole lot higher. Like I've said in yesterday's video, I think we could see a little bit of a pullback. I find it funny. Some people still... There's a million reasons why we could have a pullback. There's a million reasons how low a pullback could go, how long it could last. I only gave my predictions yesterday on what I mean. And when I say because of the short position, it does not mean that I think the entire short position is going to cover in the next week and a half. I think that they have just seen silver go up too much. And I think if they beat it down just a little bit, it offsets. It has a big move. And it's easy. We see the price, the volatile price in silver right now. I mean, look at what it did today. We had a 50-cent up and down swing throughout the day. And I think that just goes to show that we could see anything happen as the month goes on. So we'll see how that plays out. 7th is Amazon. 8th is Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has been kind of taking a hit lately. And since we talk about it when it's doing good, in all fairness, we've got to talk about it when it's not doing good. Taking a quick look, let's see. I'm afraid to check this out. Darn, over the last year, Bitcoin's up 77%. I didn't realize it was up that much. But year to date, only up 20%. Now, what does that tell me? It tells me we've had a nice run up on it, yes, but it definitely is slowing down. And when you zoom in, we'll say a month, I mean, you're down 2.5% roughly. 6 months. Okay, in the last 6 months we did decent. But what I want to take from this is, I mean, a lot of people, this is a digital asset in my opinion. I know some of you guys that follow Bitcoin hardcore also invest in silver. And I've always said from the beginning, it's okay to be diverse. Have some of your money in different assets. Some of y'all know I'm fixing to put $50 in Bitcoin just so I can track it on a regular basis. It's going to be fun, I think. It'll be a fun thing to kind of show every day what it's at. Hopefully it doesn't get tore down too much. We also seen a nice recovery recently from, we were down to 111,400 is actually a little bit lower too last week, but then we had that pop after the Fed meeting. The Fed meeting cut interest rates. Naturally, when they cut interest rates, money gets a little bit more prevalent, a little bit more easier to get, and so a lot of people will borrow money and invest it. And they invested in stuff like Bitcoin now. So we did see a nice jump back up. We'll see how long this jump holds out for. Like I said, right now we're at $112,205. I'm excited to see how this plays out throughout the year. And with that being said, we'll move on now. So I want to talk a little bit today about going to the Chinese restaurant. And, obviously, I went out to eat at a Chinese restaurant. But what's interesting is some of these restaurants, these are Asian people that work there. If you've ever been to a Chinese restaurant, I talked to the owner of one, and she actually goes back to China on a fairly regular basis. She likes traveling back home. And so we kind of talked a little bit, and I said, what are your thoughts on gold? And at first, she was a little not really understanding what I was asking. And I said, gold, like gold jewelry. She goes, I like gold jewelry. And I said, we started talking. I said, what do you think about silver real quick? She goes, oh, no, silver. I don't like silver. Just gold. Gold has been around for a long time, although I will say silver has been too. But she said gold, people in my country will buy gold, usually in the form of jewelry, and they'll save it. They'll hold on to it. Over time, they've been watering down, she said. She remembers when it was 24 karat, 22 karat, 20. Now it's like 18, and I think a lot of people don't fully understand the aspects of silver, and that's why they don't jump on it as much. However, I think the United States has an opportunity I mean, how many countries, this got me thinking too, how many countries are really have their people heavily investing in silver? Now, a lot of countries, you have Chinese people that are buying up gold. You have Indian people that are buying up gold. People recognize gold. It has a value around the world. Even when I talk to older Mexican people, they tell me that, yeah, they remember family buying gold back in the day. Gold coins, that type of stuff, and holding it. And that kind of comes into that Gresham's law where bad money will drive out good money. And basically what I mean by that is if all of a sudden you have bad money filtering in, what bad money means is, you have your silver coins and then all of a sudden you have clad coins. Well, what happens to all the silver coins? They start getting picked up by people. And it's not just silver, even pennies. How many of y'all do penny hunting? I know a lot of people that are on YouTube collect coins on top of investing in coins. And something I've noticed is I don't see as many copper pennies even out there anymore. And, when I buy a roll of pennies, I might bust it open and maybe I'll find a couple. You're definitely not going to find 50 unless you're just extremely lucky. Most of the time, you might find, 5 if you're lucky. That's 10% when you think about it out of a roll of pennies. And a lot of the copper pennies, what happens when you find them? I went to the grocery store last night and the guy had given me my change back and there was 3 pennies in it. And I glanced at it real quick and I was like, wow, 72, 72, 71? What are the odds of that? And I glanced over. I said, hey, can I ask you to open your till just for a quick second so I can see something? He goes, oh, all the quarters are new. And I said, yeah, I'm not really looking at the quarters. I was looking at the pennies. And I looked in the till, and there was a bunch of old ones. And I said, hey, can I give you this nickel, and let me get 5 of those brownish-looking pennies, the old-looking ones? He goes, which one specifically are you looking at? I said, just any older-looking, dirty pennies. I said, just grab them, 5 of them. And all 5 that he handed me were silver. Were copper. So it's rare that you see that stuff now, but I was pretty excited when I ended up getting them. Now, what happens to them? Once they get pulled out, a lot of people will save them. They'll put them away. And less and less you're seeing copper pennies. You almost never see a silver dime, a silver quarter, that type of stuff. So I think people need to be on the lookout for that type of stuff. There's a lot of opportunities in picking up precious metals out there for free if you are lucky. A lot of people end up doing the $50 coin roll hunting. I used to do that heavily, where I would actually buy as many $50 as I could get. I'd go through them. But now with so many people doing it, you don't quite see them as often as we used to. So it'll be interesting to see where the price of silver goes. A lot of it has been already pulled out of circulation. I wish there was a way to pause this, only because I got my dogs outside right now. They wanted to go just before I started filming. I don't think you can pause it. And now they're out there barking at a deer in the backyard, I'm sure. I've been having a lot of deer come up in my area. So we're seeing interesting things happen. The price of gold and silver has both been running up. Now, here's the thing. When people tell me, you're not really gaining anything because everything is going up in price. So here's what you are gaining, though. You're not taking the hit that other people are taking. I have a friend of mine. He has over $100,000 in cash in the bank, just sitting in his bank account. Not really collecting any interest, doesn't want to put it in a CD. He just leaves it in there. He doesn't even want to spend it because he's like, well, if things get really bad, I want to be able to have it. If I need it, I want to be able to get it. I have it. It's on hand. I don't have to worry about anything. And I've talked to him before, but he just doesn't understand. And every time I talk to him about gold or silver, he'll be like, yeah, I saw it went up. It went up. I mean, it's going on fire right now. Maybe I should have invested a little bit into it, but now it's just too high. And a lot of people have this belief like it's too high, like we've hit the peak. I mean, do you think steaks are going to stop going up in price? Probably not. In fact, I actually went to the grocery store last night, and I actually looked at the ribeyes. I could not believe 2 ribeyes in one pack was $40. I was like, what the heck? It was like $23 a pound. I said, man, you used to be able to pick those steaks up for, $15, $18. We're not talking high-end ribeyes. This is at a grocery store. I just could not believe how high the prices are going up on stuff. Every trip that I go to the store, it seems like I'm spending more and more money every time I go. And it's not just me that feels that way. A lot of people feel that way. But when you invest in silver, it's nice to know that your investment is going up as well. Because if maybe I could have bought 2 steaks, let's say, for $25 5 years ago, and silver was at the time $25, let's say, now an ounce of silver is, $44, and those 2 steaks are going to cost me just a little bit under $44. And so putting away silver gives you, it's buying everything you're going to need tomorrow at today's prices. Can you imagine if people had put like their entire retirement in precious metals? A lot of people put it in the stock market, the Dow Jones, whatever the case may be. Let's just say the last 5 years. It's up 70. The Dow Jones in the last 5 years is up 70%. Take a quick look, and I know I am using the Canadian Loon chart right now, but over the last 5 years, gold is up 107%. Silver is up 96.8%. I mean, when you look at that, can you imagine if you've done 96, 97% gains over the last 5 years? That basically means your portfolio is doubling in value every 5 years. And a lot of people that have been stacking precious metals feel that. They're seeing their metals go up. I had someone leave me a comment a little while back. This is a good friend of mine, a member of the channel. I keep up with him on a fairly regular basis. I talk to him, now and then. I actually met him through YouTube. And he had asked me one day, he said, have you given any thought to how much your collection has gone up in just the last year? And honestly, I hadn't at first. I mean, I have a ballpark idea on how many ounces I have. I don't know exactly because I have it spread out different places, but I could probably come up with a rough guess. And when I did that, I was like, oh my word. Take that price and multiply it by 1.5, because every dollar you put in is now worth $1.50. And I was actually telling a friend of mine that today. I called her up and I said, hey, I don't know if you've been following silver or gold. She tells me, no, I don't really look at it. The only time I ever even look at what the price is if I talk to you. This was a dear friend of mine, and she was buying a while back, like probably, well, now it's been like 3-4 years. She said, I started buying at like $16, T. When we were hanging out on a regular basis, I was buying at $16. Actually, we drove up to Houston, went to Universal Coin and Bullion. We put it in an order and picked it up. Said, I don't want it mailed. I want to pick it up right there. And she picked up a bunch. I picked up a bunch. And now you look at the prices on it, and she's in shock. She's kind of wishing she had put even more into it back then. A lot of people wish that they had put more into it back then. But the truth of the matter is, putting it in today, there will be a time tomorrow where you'll look back at today and think, man, I wish I had bought more at $44. I love it when I talk to people that have been stacking for a while, because they understand. They see it going up, and they may not even totally understand why it's going up. I talked to one person yesterday, I told you guys, sold me, or the day before, sold me 10 ounces for $400. He needed the money. But even then, he picked that stuff up, he said, at like $25 an ounce. So for him, it didn't matter. It was all profit. And a lot of us understand that because we have seen bigger and bigger gains with silver and gold. And it's probably going to continue until a day that we just see some huge tear higher. What do I mean by higher? Well, if you're in Canada and silver's sitting right now at $61, and then one day you just have some huge jump where it has like a $6 jump, that's not unreasonable to think that. That's only 10%. We've seen 10% days before. I remember when silver went all the way down to $11 during the whole cough. A lot of places wouldn't sell it at $11. They knew it was manipulated, and they weren't willing to let it go for that price. However, when it started climbing back up, it was climbing up $3 a day. That's huge. When you get $11 and it goes up $3, and then the next day it goes up by $2, and then the next day by $2. I mean, the week was it had already rebounded to $20 silver literally in a week. And then it kept going. And that was where a lot of excitement came up when it worked its way all the way up to $29 and then hung out up there for a while. And did it fizzle back down? Yes. There are people out there that are going to sell. But here's the thing. A lot of those people already sold. They were foolish. They were the foolish ones. When silver started going up, they thought, well, it's $30. I'm going to sell my collection at $30 and buy it all back at $20. I know those people. Oh, I'm going to sell my collection at $35 because now that's a big gains. I'll buy it back at $25. Okay, how's that going for you? And even when it got up to $39, I know someone that just sold their collection maybe 2 weeks ago at $39. And he ended up only getting I think it was 5% under spot. So actually I say $39, but he actually got even less because he had to give 5% back to be able to sell it. And even the guy that was buying it told me, he goes, look, Tom, he goes, I don't want to necessarily buy it and then see it have a huge pullback and then I'm stuck with it. That has happened to people before. You look at what's going on in the past in China. A lot of companies went out of business. But they were doing something a little shadier method that they were doing. They were basically telling people, I can take your gold today, sell it, give you your money, but we want you to wait a few days and give it to us. Now, a lot of those people just disappeared. Losses started adding up. You would have thought it was great when the price was going up. They hold it for a couple days, the price goes up, and they get to keep the difference. But then when we had that big pullback a while back, and by big pullback, I don't mean anything drastic or long period. But if you see a little bit of a pullback, all of a sudden you're stuck holding it, and you've already been holding it. Now you've got to worry. And they're having a lot of issues right now. They're having a lot of issues with fakes. Obviously, fakes are ramping up. It's not just here in the United States. A lot of people want to say, oh, all the fakes are coming from China. Okay, a lot of fakes do come from China. But you know what? The people in China that are faking them are also trying to sell them to Chinese people. They're not just trying to sell us the fakes. They're trying to scam the system. So I think there's a lot of things to be paying attention to. I think gold, the future of gold and silver is really looking bright, and I think it's going to look a whole lot brighter. With that being said, I'm probably going to wrap the video up here. Let's see how long we've been. Nice, 28 minutes. That's good timing. If you enjoyed today's video, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button, and leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I've been a little slow replying to the comments. I've been getting a big flush in comments lately. So if you really want to just help out the algorithm, just put a comment in that says good morning even. It helps me out. It counts as a comment because comments help the algorithm. A lot of people know it as algo food. I'll see the comments. Hey, just for the algorithm. So it really does help me out. But long comments, it's getting harder and harder right now, only because I'm falling behind again. And a lot of that has to do with a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. I don't have the 4 hours a day right now to reply back to every comment. So hopefully, if you really want to help me, at least just hit good morning in there and hit that thumbs up. And I thank everybody for watching and commenting as always. If you have a question, go ahead and ask your question though in the comment. Don't feel like, oh, I don't want to burden him. I like having your questions. I do. Because your questions make great videos. I mean, it doesn't matter. Someone asked me, look at this. This video right here, Silver just did this. I mean, this was all based off of a comment. Look how many views it had. 2.7 thousand. So 2,700 in one day. That's huge views. That was based off a comment. Some of my best videos come off of a question that someone has for me. So I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. We still got Thursday. We still got Friday. And with that being said, I hope you all have a great hump day. And we are halfway through the week. So take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Oh, don't forget, if you can, if you have that hype button when you slide that thumbs up over, please hit that hype button. It helps me out. And have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.